Strip club DJs, what do you have to tell us? Yep. When I first turned 18 I was a drink girl, really a soda girl, since the club didn't sell alcohol. My close friend at the time was a dancer and suggested the job to me. We had amateur night once a week as well and I got a ton of pressure to perform, but never did. I honestly had zero problem with dancing, I just was never comfortable enough with my body. I only lasted about 6 months, and the entire situation ended the friendship between me and my friend at the time. One of the rules was the girls weren't allowed to sit with the customers unless they bought them a drink, and when they didn't I'd have to tell the girls they had to get up and move along. In hindsight it was probably some unspoken rule where the servers helped the dancers by not reprimanding them, but I don't even know how that would have been possible when the boss was watching me. I can also say this was the stereotypical trashy strip club with girls shooting up before going on stage, and giving hand jobs under the table for extra cash. DJD the singular smallish strip club in my city for one night once, this was maybe 10 to 13 years ago. I worked as a DJ for a company that did weddings and socials primarily, but they also employed the strip club DJ, and the regular guy was taking a weekend off, so they signed me up to fill one of his shifts. The DJ booth was located right in front of the dressing room for the dancers, to act as a deterrent for creeps trying to follow them. The girls would generally come down to the booth, from their rooms in the attached hotel, and give me their short song list about 15 minutes before they start dancing, then get changed into costume and take the stage. Generally, this was a pretty easy job. Then one of the dancers missed her showtime. Then she missed her next dance, generally had 4 dancers, would have a show every half hour, shows were 3 songs long, except the headliner girl who got 4 songs, and her next after that. So, the bar manager told me it was my job to go get her from her room. I walk on up to the room, knock on the door, and the angriest little stripper I've ever seen rips the door open and glares at me. I just say, "Hey, you've missed a couple dances, manager name, told me to come get you." She responded by telling me to fuck off and die, then threw a lamp at me. She showed up for her next dance all smiles and sunshine, like she didn't even remember it happening. Also, the headliner that night tipped me out almost $30 in loonies. She didn't have to, she chose to, which was really cool, and also made me touch her boobs, because she wasn't happy with her implants and wanted me to give my input. They looked nice, but they were strangely hard/firm. Your shorter lap dance songs reminded me of this very mediocre story. First time I ever went to a strip club, my buddies chipped in for a lap dance. Now I figured that similar to what you say, that they just play the shortest 1-minute song to grab your $25 and then you gotta pay more. Literally 5 seconds into this lap dance I had to rock the hardest piss of my life. I literally couldn't fucking pay attention, and at one time she was like slapping her pussy. All I know is that I really had to pee. I swear to fucking God this chick went through almost the entirety of the song that had already started and was like 10 seconds in, and then they played another song, and in total this experience lasted nearly 8 minutes. The songs would not end. It finally ends and she does the whole "oh wow you really want me to put my clothes back on" routine, and I was sweating bullets. I probably looked like a fucking maniac, like I was about to go jerk off in the bathroom, cause I hauled ass from the back room to the pisser. Wasn't a DJ, but I did bouncer work for a club in East St. Louis for about 3 months when I was younger. I worked primarily on weekends doing a favor for one of the managers. Everything was off the books, and I got paid in cash at the end of the night, which was usually an extra $200 for my help. I saw so much completely fucked up shit there. So I'll start with the most shocking thing I ever saw. I was asked to check on a girl when she didn't show up for her first song. All of us wore earpieces and radios so we could communicate through the place over the music. The DJ had a radio and went, "Hey, anyone seen Angel? She's supposed to be on stage right now. Her first song's almost over. Go see if she's in the dressing room. So I was the closest to the dressing room, walked in the room, and there in front of me, I saw a stripper who was maybe 90 pounds and no taller than a hobbit, syringe in hand and about to inject heroin directly into her eye socket because she didn't want to leave track marks in her arms and have to go to rehab again. That one still haunts me several years later. At the time, they had an amateur night where they'd let people live their fantasy as an exotic dancer, which was usually done on this platform room area that had several couches, chairs, and a few dance poles. This one couple came in, I guessed around 40s/50s, and this woman started trying to be the star of the night. Dancing on everyone, trying to get people to grope her, etc. This went on for about 2 hours while the husband got obliterated drunk. She found her way back to her man, who was half conscious at that point, and started to give him the old straddle grind. The dude pissed his pants. Legit pissed his pants. Then he realized he was suddenly warm and wet, thought his wife pissed on him, shoved her to the floor, called her a whore, and then tried to hit her. That's when we all swooped in and took him outside. They had a special guest star come in, some lady I never heard of or of since. This lady got so fucking high on coke before it was her turn to go on stage. Finally the DJ got the crowd going, said welcome to the stage, insert her name here. And the guys in the room didn't really make much noise. She burst out of the dressing room, and started yelling at the guys. You limp dick motherfuckers. Either cheer for me or no pussy show. Most of the guys in the room just were like yeah, no, and moved away. She threw a full-scale meltdown in the dressing room. Like, trashed people's lockers, ripped costumes, threw heels in the trash, stupid shit. Her manager, who I assume was her boyfriend and dealer, came to pick her up and was clearly out of his mind. He yelled at everyone that you wouldn't know a good pussy dance if it smacked your eyes. That was such a bizarre night. After that, things went back to normal. I made friends with a few of the girls, some of which lived on my side of the river in St. Louis, so I would give rides home when girls were tired or drunk and didn't want to drive. One girl was really sweet, nice, and laid back. She was stripping while going to college and paying her way. There was never any wild crazy nights with a stripper type of thing. Most of the girls I talked to were nice and friendly. After the first few nights, you don't see them as strippers. They're your co-workers and friends. One of the girls got so drunk she projectile vomited while walking to the stage, hitting one of the expensive ass speakers at the DJ booth. She then tried to go up on stage to do her set, with vomit still dripping out of her mouth. About week 3, they were doing tryouts during a Tuesday afternoon. I was off of my main job that day, so I covered for one of the guys. Some girl I went to high school with came in and then it was please welcome to the stage Victoria. I was like she's not working today, so I looked over and sure enough, girl I went to high school with. Up on stage, doing her tryout thing. After her set, she was getting off stage, and the bouncers were rotating around. I was by the dressing room door. We made eye contact and her face went pale. She was one of the more popular girls and apparently her dad had cut her off. So, she thought this would be a good idea. Anyway, she rushed to get her stuff, and practically ran out of the club after changing. Don't think she got the job. Never saw her again. But it really made me laugh to see her in there. There weren't any issues when I was there personally. I know at one of the other rival clubs, there was someone who got heated at a stripper for not giving him anything extra and threatened to shoot her. The only violence we really saw was one guy tried to pull a girl off stage to take her away. She kicked him with her heel, right to the face. Ambulance had to be called because he was gushing blood from the nose and mouth. That was really it for the heavy violence stuff. The manager was smart with the employees. When they got there, they all put their keys and wallets/purses in the big safe. Then when leaving they were escorted to the car and left. Usually it was straight to the highway and out of town at that point. There was a standard rule there: always leave a car length ahead of you at a stop sign or red light so you have an escape route, and never go to your car alone. Spent 3 years DJing in a strip club. Still go as a customer sometimes, because it's as fun as you make it. Here's a few rules. If you're going to sit in Gino row, tip. If you're not going to tip, at least be enthusiastic when the dancer pulls off a decent pole trick, and between songs. Clap. Whistle. Woo a little. The scummier the joint, the more likely you'll get a handy in the VIP, or manage to wrangle a date after the club closes. You probably don't want the ones that'll provide that service, but if you find yourself in that situation, wear protection. A full dive suit. The worst I saw: a dancer was late showing up for her song selection and we were doing back-to-back strippers that night. I've got about a minute left before I announce her, so I pop my head back into the change room to remind her. There she was, one leg up on the counter, removing her tampon. Maintained eye contact, let her know she was up, she told me her songs, and said I'll be there, just cutting the string. I never saw it when it happened, but because the shitter was across the club, there were times where girls pissed or shat in the Changi room garbage can. We had some feature acts at the club: Victoria Paris, Kobe Tai, Raquel Darian, Dita Von Teese, and Jenna Jameson, when she was dating Tommy Lee. I believe there was one or two others, but it was so long ago. Raquel was quite a snob, Jenna was as well, and Tommy came in with her a couple of times. I had tickets to the cruise show, and it was seriously underwhelming. A local Vancouver band, Noise Therapy, opened for them and they were stellar though. Victoria and Kobe were fantastic. Great tippers, hung out in the booth sometimes. Dita was a diva. Insufferable at best. I worked as a DJ for about a year, maybe a little less. I was already working as FA audio and figured it wouldn't hurt to pick up something more easygoing. I don't know how it works in other clubs, but this wasn't a nice club. It was small, kind of dirty, and boy did it fucking reek of shitty perfume, sweat, and sex, from the totally no sex allowed VIP room. I hated it there, but it was like $20/HR and they had to pay me to play their songs, every night, didn't matter if it was the same or different songs. Amateur night was promoted as amateurs keep all type thing, but the amateurs had to rent out stage time from the club and also pay me for music, less than the FT strippers or whatever. There was one girl that always showed up for amateur night and I asked her why she didn't work more nights and become a girl here. She said if she just needed a little bit more extra cash flow for school, and amateur night was always packed, she was one of the few girls for amateur, and it paid more than her working than as one of the girls. It was an interesting time. The manager and owner were chill, the girls were mostly nice, the pay was really nice. I think if it was a high-end club I'd probably still be doing it. I only worked 3 shifts as the DJ in a pinch, but normally worked in the kitchen. Honestly, the thing that surprised me most was how normal the strippers there were as people. Most had their lives together and just soaked up easy money. Sure, there was the occasional hot mess that came through, but there was also one girl I became friends with that was just working to save money for her study abroad master's scholarship. I hope she's doing good now. She was just an overall rad person. Working at a strip club also kinda ruins the allure of strip clubs. Once you're friendly with the girls, it really normalizes the whole experience. Naked girls coming back to the kitchen to take a break and not be ogled and have a normal work small talk kinda kills the whole thing. Hey Amanda, how's school going? Yeah, it's a slow night back here so far, but seems like you're doing alright out there. My favorites was hearing them say things like, "Welp, time to go try to get that guy to gimme his whole paycheck." Partying with strippers though is usually a lot of fun when they aren't on the clock. Edit. Was reading through and saw a lot about the music and remembered my favorite was this girl that was super hot but couldn't dance at all as far as I saw, or maybe she just didn't. She requested Cotton-Eyed Joe and did the sexy walk to the pole and just grabbed the pole and stuck her ass out and smiled, then turned to the other side of the stage and did the same thing. The whole thing just cracked me up. Got a funny one. This is close to 20 years ago, yet it not as sexual as some people will want, but I guess it fits here. So our club had the stage with 2 walkways at each side and the pole at the end of each. Girl gets on stage, visibly drunk but not shit-faced, goes about her routine and walks to the end of one of the walkways and gets on the pole for a few spins. Now we have a strip of table on each side of those walkways, so as she finishes her twirling and starts walking backwards on the walkway, that's when it happens, takes an empty step, falls backwards straight into this poor bystander's arms and proceeded to completely backflip her and almost sticks the landing. The whole bar went from "oh shit" to "whoa AA. Had a good laugh at that one. Edit, thanks for all the upvotes, didn't think this would get upvoted this much, although it has gotten good laughs over the years. I was a bouncer, but was covering a DJ shift at the upscale club I worked at, and on a slow Wednesday in the middle of winter, a stunning young woman walked in and asked if we were hiring bartenders. Being the off-season, we weren't. I told her that it just happened to be amateur night, not a lie, actually was, and if she was comfortable, she could pop up on stage, no pressure. She thought about it for a bit and said yes sure, why not, I already drove here, might as well. That night, club had 6 regulars and all the house mom dancers, but it was a ghost town otherwise. They were all super kind to her, helped get her some shoes and an outfit. They were all so sweet. Comes back up front and we chatted for 25 minutes between sets, joking around about how she never thought she'd be doing this, etc. Really friendly and fun, great sense of humor. I prepped her for what was gonna happen, let her pick her song and all that, calmed the obvious nerves. Right before she goes up, I ask what her stage name is and she says haha, didn't even think about that. Make something up for me. I told her that was a bad idea, but she was already about 5 steps away. Alright gents, you're in luck because it's amateur night. So I want you to give a warm welcome to our newest dancer, it's her first time ever. Coming to stage next, the beautiful, the incomparable, the unforgettable Felicia. And I held the O out like I was Michael Buffer. The regulars all got a chuckle out of it, the dancers were staring at me wide-eyed in disbelief, and the new girl was laughing her ass off on the catwalk. She starts yelling no. No. I don't like that, something else. Through the laughter. I dated a stripper for years. Some of the DJs would play particular songs to fuck with girls they didn't like, and they were generally privy to their locker room gossip so they could hit hard. So like, they might play a straight up stupid song like the chicken dance to fuck with their ego. Or if a girl was self-conscious about their weight they might play Fat Bottom Girls. One girl was obviously racist AF. Semi-hidden, nude club, so yeah, no, not really, SS Thunderbolts, swastika tattoo, ECT. The guy always played songs like If I Ruled the World by NAS, and pretty much any song Huey P. Newton would endorse. Drive her crazy. That DJ was cool but got fired for playing too much gangster rap. Management said it encouraged gang violence. The bouncer was fucking awesome though. Biker dude who was always happy to see me when I dropped girls off, always coked out of his mind, and always lifted his shirt to flash a pistol, but in a non-threatening "don't worry bro I'll keep 'em safe" kinda way with a head nod. I hope he's doing good, but I sorta doubt it. Seriously though, sounds like a bad guy, but he was 100% the guy you would want there if shit went down. I probably don't have to mention this wasn't in a great part of town. Edit forgot wholesomeness. One club sucked. Super cheap owners. The heat broke and they wouldn't fix it, so all the girls worked in an Easy's. You could get a dance from a shark, a lion, a dinosaur, a monkey. One of the girls brought a space heater from home for the VIP room. This went on a few days. Eventually the protest worked and they fixed the heat. Less people than you would think are into a sexy Peppa Pig.